Hey everyone, welcome back to Titans Talk, the series dedicated to DC Universe's Titans. Today we're going to be talking about episode number 10, titled Koriand'r. Now this episode picks up where episode number 8 left off after a filler episode of number 9. In this episode, essentially, we pick up where Starfire is attacking Raven after getting some of her memories back and realizing that she is actually going to attack her, or I guess is after her for most of the part. So this episode picks up where that episode left off, and then we get Donna Troy and Dick Grayson bursting through, having a little bit of a scuffle with Starfire there, and we actually get to see some really cool things in this episode, but I don't necessarily think it was the best episode, but we do get some background with Starfire, which I think was kind of nice, and the reason why she's actually there, which is really good because we really haven't had much of Starfire's story really at all, other than the fact that she has amnesia, and she pretty much just has little flashes about every 4 episodes. But we essentially find out that the main reason that Starfire is there on Earth and trying to get Raven, or secure her is the best word that the text said, is because to stop her father Trigon, who's essentially like a destroyer of worlds. So I guess Starfire's sort of planet learns about Trigon, and the only way to stop her, or stop him rather, is to kill Raven, which is essentially the doorway into universes, I guess. I guess he's attacking Earth first, so if they stop it there, he won't spread his darkness and go on to other planets, such as Starfire's. Now, in terms of acting, I think that this episode was actually pretty decent overall. There wasn't really any weak links, with exception to really one. But in terms of the Titans themselves, Starfire, Robin, Raven, and Beast Boy, I feel like they all pretty much had a really good sort of showing. Like, they all sort of got a little bit of screen time. Robin was a little bit in the background, which I kind of appreciated since he's been very heavy in episodes lately. And we got a little bit more of Beast Boy, Raven, and Starfire. So it's actually nice to get them involved for once. But everyone really played their part. There really was no weak link. With me, there was an exception for one though, and that's going to be with Raven's mom. I felt like she's been shady or was going to die off really quick this whole time, and that's pretty much what played out in the episode. But I don't feel like her acting is the strongest in comparison to some of the other performances. I feel like they really have to show what's going on, but I kind of have to give her the benefit of the doubt because she was sort of playing a role for Raven, so I guess maybe it just didn't come across the right way. I'm not entirely sure, but I definitely feel like Raven's mom was probably the weakest in terms of acting. Now, I don't think the episode was my favorite of the season so far. I definitely don't think that. But I felt like the episode was actually pretty good. It had a fair amount of story that was actually really nice. We actually developed something for the first time with Raven, especially since the series started off with her being that central issue about what's going on with her and why she's having this internal conflict, or what power she's having, things like that. That was the main sort of topic of the first couple of episodes, and then it just sort of went away and we focused mainly on Robin and various other stories. So I felt like that this episode they kind of got back to that and sort of gave some meaning to her abilities, brought in Trigon. I felt like they rushed Trigon a little bit in terms of the way that he comes to Earth and nobody really stops him. It's just he sort of is there all of a sudden, coming through the mirror after Raven pulls him through. There wasn't really a whole lot of stepping stones to get there. It was like, hey, Raven is supposed to be the one who brings him here, but then the next scene, she's bringing him here. There was no build-up to that sort of action. So that was a little bit disappointing, I would have to say. But I definitely felt like this episode had a lot of good things going for it. One of those things is Donna Troy. She's in the episode only very little, but I think she had a lot better character in this episode than her own. In her own episode, she was just sort of Robin's support for the most part. In this episode, she actually not only gets into the action, but uses a lasso, which is really awesome. And it looks like it's the same effects from the Wonder Woman movie in terms of how the lasso works and glows and things like that. So I really like that a lot. They're able to utilize some of that actual DC films sort of special effects and things like that into the show, which I really did appreciate. I thought that was actually one of the coolest parts of the entire episode. I like that Kori got some background, or Kori/Starfire got some background. We do get to see her ship. I felt like the ship was kind of plain for the most part. There wasn't anything that I was like, oh wow, that's actually a really cool idea or take on it. It just felt like kind of a standard spaceship that you've seen in 1,000 movies. But I felt like her, in terms of her background and being able to build it, her sort of remembering where the ship is, why she's there, I felt like that was definitely a lot more developmental in terms of the episode and her character. We actually really needed that probably 3 episodes ago. So we really could have used some more background in terms of her, or at least discovering the ship a while ago. That would have benefited the show a lot more for me. But again, going back to the part that really bothered me the most about the episode was Raven's mom. I felt like she's been off ever since we met her about 2-3 episodes ago, where she just felt off. I had this feeling that she was either going to turn bad or be murdered right away. Now, she's turned bad, so I'm pretty sure now that she's essentially served her purpose and had Raven sort of be brought to the house, bring Trigon over, she's probably going to die pretty quick. I don't expect her to make it through the finale, if not the very beginning of the next episode. Don't expect her to last long whatsoever. It's mainly probably going to be between Trigon and Raven, if anything else. But I feel like her character is just kind of useless. She served her purpose of getting Raven to bring Trigon to Earth. And other than that, I just feel like she's really useless. There's really not a purpose for her character. So hopefully if she does die, that sounds really weird the way I said that, Raven's going to be able to move on, really focus with Trigon's her enemy now because he killed her mother. And then that's where she's going to sort of really go all out and try and defeat him and stop him and keep him essentially away from Earth and spreading his darkness. As I said, this episode wasn't necessarily my favorite of the season, but it did introduce a lot of interesting storylines. It had some little bit of a decent action. Actually had some things happening in the episode. It wasn't pure downtime, talking, just a filler episode like the last episode was. It actually had some meat and weight to it. And for that reason, the overall grade that I have to give episode number 10, titled Koriand'r, the grade of a C+. Again, this episode was not bad. I just wish it would have been an actual follow-up to episode number 8 instead of having that filler episode of number 9. Hopefully that whole thing will make sense later on. I guess we'll have to wait and find out. But the next episode, which is going to be the season finale, that's going to be where it gets interesting. So make sure you guys are subscribed for when I post my video on that. Batman's coming. We're going to get to see some really brutal version of Batman that I don't think we've ever seen before. Completely off the rails. He's killing people left and right. It looks like he's killed Two-Face, the Riddler, and he's either after or killed the Joker, possibly paralyzed Jason Todd. There's a lot of things going on. My theory, before we go ahead and even see that episode, is that it's actually Robin sort of, when he went into what I'm going to call the shimmer, or like the veil thing that he goes into at the end of episode number 9. He's the only one that goes in there. Starfire and Wonder Girl are not able to get in. So it's my theory that Trigon is sort of manipulating his sort of mentality, or like manipulating his mind, or showing him some sort of alternate universe if he were to succeed, or possibly even Trigon's sort of darkness spreading that they sort of talked about earlier in the episode is more of a people going bad and not necessarily an actual darkness spreading. It's more like people are like murdering each other and going crazy, all sorts of things like that. And the best case for that is probably going to be Batman, who has the tools, who has the sort of mental instability for the most part, driving force to be able to go out and kill these people. He does have that moral code to himself that he won't kill people, but if an influence like Trigon is there, it's possible that he could go full out. But I guess we're just going to have to wait for the episode and actually find out the reason behind this, because it seems like Dick sort of wakes up in an alternate universe, and Jason Todd asks for his help with Batman. Now, I don't think that this next episode might end on a cliffhanger for an episode for a season 2. I just hope they sort of bring it back to Trigon and sort of like the fight. But I felt like because he was so rushed at the end of this last episode, he's going to be transferring this whole battle, more or less, is going to be happening in the next season. Otherwise, it felt like it would be completely rushed. And based on this next trailer, it's pure Robin and Batman. There's really not a whole lot of other characters. Plus, it looks like Starfire has a completely different outfit and hairstyle. So that's why I'm sort of thinking it's an alternate universe, or a sort of like a vision Robin is getting, something like that. But we're going to have to wait and see. As I said, make sure you are subscribed for my next episode of Titans Talk so you don't miss it. Again, it is the finale, so I'm really looking forward to that. But other than that, those are my thoughts on episode number 10. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.